Okay. Wait, it's too late. We're recording, Leon. Don't you laugh at that. You can laugh at that. Hello, everyone. It is office hours 14. Let's go quick right now. We just did the math before, so you guys don't have to see us struggle as we do it. So put the fingers up. Office hours 14. There we go. Leon.
Great. There we go.
Wonderful. You can maybe see if you have followed this or have watched or listened. There is a wonderful person who is not here today, which is Lauren, Papa Lauren. Key administrator, financial person, security person, wonderful doer of things on the team and makes this ship sail smoothly. So we miss him very much, but we have a person who is here in his stead. Leon, wonderful to have you back again, my friend. Great to see you. This is Office Hours 14. We do this every week, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, something that our team looks forward to a lot. And we have discussions. We talk about updates, things we're thinking about, and just wonderful time to reflect on the week that was and also look forward to the future. So quickly, we're getting somewhat better at this. Quick introduction. 𝗕𝗏 𝗏𝗏 lover of human-computer interaction and wanting to make that better for people across the world. Done.
Beautiful. Okay, 𝗏𝗏𝗏 and CTO at 𝗕𝗏 spend so much time in IoT, hardware and software integration stuff.
Tim, I'm junior developer here, and spending time, enjoying the time spent, racking my brain against all the software problems that we're encountering at 𝗕𝗏, making it what it is.
Beautiful. Leon.
Right. Recently joined to help manage the product. My name is Leon, and I call myself a PM. So anything that ranges from go-to-market for the next quarter and or simplifying things within the team, within the process and everything across the software, including user experience.
And I'm 𝗲𝗏, digital strategist here at 𝗕𝗏, and I help with everything from messaging to writing to trying to figure out how to simplify everything we do as well.
And I guess, there's a couple topics that we want to go through today, but that's one thing, maybe just an open moment of any lessons learned or any insights this week. And one thing that what comes to me right now is like simple is better. KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Something that our team has not always been good at. We love to talk about high level abstract things, and that's fun when you're talking amongst yourself as a team, but when you're trying to articulate what you do and actually, really help people, there's nothing cool about using language that isn't accessible, that doesn't resonate and doesn't clearly identify what you're doing to help and what problems you're solving. So 𝗕𝗏, Leon, continue to paint a light, shine a light on those on those things that we've done, and it's also, I think, it's sped up the level of improvement that we've had and really honed some focus in that messaging and what we're doing as a team. So yeah, just a second here. Anyone right from the start before we jump into a couple topics, some lessons learned or things that you're thinking about?
I do have a couple of points, but we'll jump on the what are the updates on the engineering side this week. So I would like to include moving forward on the office hour, take 5 minutes to talk about what we are doing and what are the updates for who are listening, and just give some light on that.
Okay, it's probably a good idea. No, it is a good idea. Leon, you're sitting there, Solom. Anything that you're thinking from your side? You've been taking a deep dive into everything that is 𝗕𝗏. How are you feeling? Are you okay? You still got a smile on your face?
Yeah, I'm just grateful that everyone was able to be very upfront about challenges that they experience, both personally as well as in terms of helping build the company out. And that the faster we get to the problem, the faster we can understand how to solve that problem. So, well, currently, I mean, I can summarize a few things into basically a bullet point or 3 bullet points. Right now, we've looked at all the possible or plausible strategies and offerings, and we've realized that as a team, we are going to hone in and double down on human transcription as a next major offering. And so the rest of it, we will deprioritize, but also because we're very limited, right? We're running super lean. And once again, I'm just repeating myself from last week, but before I joined the team, or before I got to know Tyler and 𝗲𝗲, I just thought that we had like at least 5 developers. So we built so many things, which is an incredible feat of itself.
Okay, well, I worry a bit because one of the things I want to talk about today is this Google Chrome extension. So as we prioritize and tech and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But Tim, with the wonderful support and guidance from 𝗲𝗲, have been also doing some wonderful work with real-time voice analysis that, and we shared some stuff internally. We're not ready to share that publicly yet with the group yesterday, and said like, good luck putting this into our product strategy, Leon. But the thing that we do want to align in is solving problems for people and identifying the needs that have, and we've continuously, and we don't want to spend too much time on that, but seen that gap with automated transcription and just automated analysis in general, not necessarily being accurate enough to produce the results for professional publishing or professional research. Seeing that gap and offering a lot of ways to improve that process and amplify the results, combining the human part, and then the software. So very excited to be working on that and to have some team members focusing us down and creating a very solid value proposition. So 𝗲𝗲, Tim, anything to say? Okay, all right.
Well, the only thing to be said is that I'm grateful to be here, because that's the group of people whose ideas got so much traction in our minds that they got executed upon and implemented. What Leon is seeing in our platform, what you might be seeing in our platform, is a lot of different proofs of concepts, a lot of prototypes, really, and they all have proven to be somewhat teaching. We've learned tons from every niche of them. Maybe not all of them succeeded, but thanks to Leon, we're right now centering on something that really matters to you, and hopefully the end customer will benefit from it as much. And once again, all the anything that you might be thinking about or even desiring from a platform like ours, or a platform which doesn't yet exist, you might address it toward us or toward Leon if he'd share his public email with you. He wouldn't, but
his address.
One part, it's been a interesting experience building all those prototypes, and now narrowing in on something that fulfills a need and is purposeful as well.
I want to add on to that quickly. I think that what we have is a MVP of just around around transcriptions. We have an MVP that actually have traction, an MVP that actually has customers paying for it. That's something that's worth celebrating, no matter where we are along our journey. Quick example: when Justin Khan started Twitch, he was just filming himself as a reality TV show at home. That was a prototype. He's like, people might be interested in watching what I'm doing, and they started to play video games, and then there goes Twitch.
I'll add ClearBank rebranded as 𝗫𝗏 this week, and I believe it was Michelle Romanoff who she shared a wonderful story about how ClearBank, now 𝗫𝗏, started, and they tested about 20 different things at the start. They were trying to instantly pay Uber drivers, something about connecting, like they experimented with so many things, all that they could not figure out how to scale, or that were not, their hypothesis was not proven, and they continued to drive through. What I've found really interesting is they've obviously been immensely successful because they persevered and they learned very quickly from those things, and then got to something that mattered. And what I've maybe said this before, but 𝗵𝗲𝗏 published this published his book, Green Lights, I believe it was called, and he talks about his journey in life. And he said that he always knew that he was heading in one direction, but he left like a wide open highway that was on it. So it was like 12 lanes. So he would swerve. He was always heading in the right direction, but he would allow himself to swerve. And sometimes he would get a little too far off, close to the edge, and he'd have to correct himself and get back. And what I think we've done, a through line for all of this has been, how can we manage media better? That in communication, in voice, there is so much wealth of information that is extremely valuable, and how can we enhance that? How can we help people find that easier and make use of those things to make better decisions? So it's been a long, winding journey to get there, but it feels, while there are some interesting parts in our product that maybe don't feel fully fleshed out, we have done our best to encompass around this problem, around this theme, around this need, and with a little bit more focus and some great people working with us, I can see, I can see the success, and I can see the impact of that.
Just have a thought on the philosophy of that book, a little bit psychologically. Does that also work? As an individual, you can open up the 12 lanes and you can switch between that, might change your career, and might experiment something which is you can focus upon. But when you are running a company with 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, is that possible psychologically to switch the lane? And like what affects that the team of 1,000 people and changing the objectives, the agenda, is like the problem, the statement of the problem. So I'm just trying to say psychologically, what does affect that, right? Because when you are individual, that is fine. You can change the lane. It's only affecting your life and what you are trying to build and what you're trying to experiment. But when it is a team, does that work? It's an open question. Does that work even? Okay.
Short answer is no. That's why I don't know. I assume that's why C-suite have VPs that report to them and VPs that have directors that report to them, and then senior management down to individual contributors. So in that massive hierarchy, people in the C-level and VP level are in charge of the vision primarily that revolve around the mission that doesn't change, aka that highway goes in that right direction. But everything below that, stemming from management all the way down to individual contributors, they're managing their own lanes so that the highway doesn't, let's say, split into a million pieces. I don't know. That's a good explanation. The short answer is it doesn't work when people are always swerving.
It's interesting, like, the common sort of, I guess, mantra, I don't know if that's the right word, or theme, is like with a big company, it's like it's very hard to turn the ship or steer the ship. It's such a big, like if we are, now that this is a sad metaphor, but if we're the Titanic and we're heading towards the iceberg and you're a small ship, you just turn and navigate out of the way. But as a big one, it's very hard to make that shift and get everyone on board. And it's interesting as we look at this year, though, how many companies have had to shift or pivot, and it's this idea of survival and adaptation and thriving. And I think some companies and organizations can make it through that because they have the right people, they have like the drive, the ambition, the perseverance to do that. But depending on who's the team, how that team is structured, how it's organized, a pivot or a shift like this could be completely detrimental and actually, create a collapse within the organization or within the team. So I'm very thankful to have people like you around who have had to go through iterations and they're still here. And, still saw, even though there was some, again, maybe moments where we're on the 12th lane and the one wheel's off the road, that it's like, okay, there's still enough traction on the road that I'm not gonna jump out of the seat. So I'm very thankful for that.
That is so interesting psychologically, right? It's like how you can switch the lane, and when you switch the lane, it's also important, and don't die in. Yeah, it's very interesting. So yeah, go ahead, Darren. Back to you.
That's now my fear is just like talking about a Google Chrome extension that does not necessarily fit into some of the focus over the next 3 months, but also augments the service and the offering that we've done, which is, at a core level, the human transcription has allowed people to create media assets, more high quality media assets, because without that accuracy, there's a lot of things that cannot be done properly. But that theme for us has always been, these 4 pillars: capture, analyze, share, and improve. And the interesting part, why we've tried to build integrations like the Google Chrome extension, has been, we want to help people with that capture process, because that alone can be a tedious act. And I think back to our first MVP, where I think you could only upload 1 audio file at once. And imagine you want to transcribe, just for the transcription to keep that thorough, complete, is like doing that 50 times over and over again while you sit there and wait. And then now with bulk uploading, being able to do that all at once, and the time that we've saved. So trying to improve the capture process has been a big part of us actually getting to some of the the goals that we're talking about now, which is creating clean data, creating high quality data sets, improving the accuracy of the transcription so that you can do real things with it that provide value. And Chrome extension is part of that. We will celebrate that this is live on the Chrome extension store. So I'll just share quickly, and just maybe, if there's anything that anyone has to say about it, let us know. And Leon, tell us when to stop too. I'm just kidding. But this is something that we have been very excited about, and to see this published, sharing some reasons why this is valuable, how this system works, trying to basically show, improve and enhance the messaging of this. And this is only version 1, so we're up to a wonderful 14 users now, and we're very excited about that. But also starting to build ourselves in this directory and in this wonderful listing that is the Chrome Web Store, that people can try to figure a way to analyze transcripts, or even analyze audio and video, which will have the ability to pull in audio and video to then analyze too. So it's unlocking a lot of potential and fitting nicely into something like Google Chrome that people use all the time. So very excited about that. I'm not sure if you guys have anything to add about the Chrome extension. I know we've talked about it a little bit in the past too.
Just want to do again, big shout out to 𝗕𝗲𝗁 who built the Chrome extension and worked on this extension. So yeah, thank you to 𝗕𝗲𝗁. And also is what you also included into the little bit more, a couple of things is the description is there, how you can utilize, it's all under the overview. And if you find anything, if you go up on the right hand side, you can click on the contact developer, which will send us an email if you a little bit scroll down over here. So if you click on here, that will send us an email, and you can let us know if you find any issue using the extension. And also there's also the review section where you can leave us the review and feedback.
And I'll just give, one of the interesting insights that someone signed up and sent us was they wanted to read articles faster, which I just thought was such an interesting thing. And really it fits in with the theme of there's too much information, too much media being generated every day. So how can you hone on the moments that matter, make it more accessible, make it more searchable, and navigate to those moments? So just nice to see some inklings of the vision that we have be communicated and resonating with people who are testing this extension and now downloading it and using it. So shared some concepts of what a version 2 could look like, but we're going to wait, instead of going ahead and forging ahead without feedback and just dreaming up again like we have in the past. We're going to wait till we hear some from people who are using it, what they see as the value, and how we can enhance that for them.
Yeah. That's a lesson we learn throughout the process is ask for the feedback, wait for the feedback. You can give the version 1, but when you want to release the version 2, and if you are, so that's a sort of a balance between getting the more feedback from the user and ask for what is missing, and then build it. So that might be help another 5 or more 10 users who have the same frequency of the thoughts. So that's a one learning lesson. We'll take a pause here to see any feedback and the requirements for the new features.
Yeah, awesome work, guys. I think at best, this could become a monetization strategy. At worst, this is a acquisition channel or funnel. So terrific. I like
That's
it.
a great way to put it, Leon. One thing, Leon, maybe you had some thoughts around this as someone who spent some time looking at products. And 𝗲𝗏 and I have been talking about this too, but our thought has been like, this to me feels like a little bit more, like you said, it's like an offering of Speak. It's free. It connects to the main system. It's sort of its own product on its own, as 𝗲𝗏 and I had in one of our various descriptions in our 500, an ecosystem of products, an ecosystem of solutions that we plan to offer. And I remember 𝗬𝗏𝗁 and I, when we first started Speak AI, it's like, it's not going to be just one product.
Yes.
The thing that I've come back to that theme is that you earn the right to build multiple products. You don't just get to do that from the start. You don't, I have that thought. I think of it almost every day. I just wake up, Leon. It's the first thing I think of in the morning, where you say, I can't believe things haven't imploded. And I just think of that, because you go, and 𝗬𝗁, after we had that talk, we talked about things going too horizontal. And you can go horizontal when you have the growth, when you have the team resources, and you have the traction. But in the first iteration, or the early stages of a company, you need to go pretty deep, and then you build out from there with the lessons that you learn. So I don't know where I'm going with this, but one of the thoughts that I was trying to get to is, say we have something like this, we're excited to share it. We do want to get feedback. We have our own audience that we can share with, and we can get feedback and testing. But how, on a more continuous basis, can we share something like this? And basically what 𝗲𝗏 and I have been looking on is like a launch list. So one of the big ones that people think of is Product Hunt, posting on Indie Hackers, posting on Reddit. What are these standardized routines that we can build and share with engaged communities who care about what we're doing or see value? And just wanted to put that out there, as also people who come and listen to these sometimes are people who are building their own software, or early in their own company, and are looking for ways to grow, looking for growth strategies. And that's something that we spend a lot of time thinking about here as we try to get our message out to the world.
I agree. Just a thought on top of that, 𝗲𝗏, is like 𝗲𝗏 made and Tyler, you, both of you, it's like made quite a bit of changes on the homepage, on the website. But when we talk about the Speak has Speak is not a product, Speak has products, a lot of products in it built in the Speak, right? So is there a way for us to showcase the opportunity for us to display the products on the homepage? That can be the Chrome extension right on the homepage, maybe below, above the footer or something, that what are the products we offer. That can be the Chrome extension link, embeddable recorder, the ename transcript editor, human transcription, the text note, the text feature, right? We display in the flow, but is there an opportunity for us to display the Speak as a Speak products?
I'd like to say yes, but 𝗲𝗏, go ahead. Yeah, you can say yes.
So I definitely think there's room for us to display our entire kind of product lineup. Personally, I don't know if the homepage is the place for that. I think we can.
Oops.
Sorry, lots of trucks on my street. So personally, I'm not sure that the homepage, at least when all our products are still kind of in that V1 phase, and if they're not our main kind of our monetization, they don't really fit into our monetization the way we want them to necessarily. I don't think they live on the homepage. They definitely have a place on our website, potentially a prominent place on our website. Like, for instance, on top, like in our header, we could have a product, right?
Products and a drop down, and
like in a drop down, yeah, where we have we do have a lot of once again, right, we're trying to take inspiration from like companies or organizations we look up to, the companies that have done it right, and figure out the optimal structure for our website as well, right? Because, for instance, one thing we've discussed as well is we have like, X amount of pages where like, let's say we have like 300 pages, right, on our website. How many of those pages are actually important? How many of them are relevant? How many of them actually provide value to like someone that lands on our website, right? And so, for instance, similar to how you have the integrations page, it's very possible for us to have a featured section on our website where it's like, this is Speak. So the homepage talks about Speak's value propositions, and it's something that we're working on currently. And we'd have a section where it's like, here's the suite of products. And then we'd actually have specific pages dedicated to explaining our particular products, right? So if we had something, so if we had a dedicated Chrome extension page that actually maybe talks about the Chrome extension, explains how it fits into the Speak ecosystem, explains how it's still a standalone product, as well as maybe demos on how to use it, right? How to use it efficiently. Maybe our, the Speak Chrome extension for marketers, the Speak Chrome extension for like researchers, right? And then actually building out a guide, because I think that's where we'll find value with our secondary products, right? Where we can show people, here's how you can use Speak to better do this.
Leon, is anything you just shared a link? Is there anything you want to go?
I shared a couple links that I believe they're competitors. One's called 𝗏𝗏, one's called Notion. I'm a fan of Notion. I use it daily. I don't use 𝗏𝗏, but they also have just a kick-ass landing page. And if you look at both of these companies, they're kind of project management, all in one. They use the same phrase. If you scroll down 𝗏𝗏's landing page, you'll find all in one at some point, right? All in one doc. So they're both disrupting first of all, Google disrupted Microsoft Suite or Microsoft Office, and then they disrupted Google Suite together. Sorry, I should say simultaneously. But you don't really see all their products on their landing page, except if you go into solutions, the drop down, you'll find use cases, right? And their offerings. And on Notion's page, if you're not already logged in, I use incognito to go on Notion.
Wow, their website's so fast.
Yeah, we'll come that. But if you go into downloads, you'll see iOS, Android, Mac, and Windows, and then 𝗏𝗏. 𝗏𝗏 is a big part of Notion, even though they don't advertise, they don't talk about it. It's almost like a feature or an extension of Notion, rather than a offering of its own. So they don't really talk about it as much. So I've used that maybe at 1%. But when I'm on my phone browsing, and I know that Notion's been installed, and there's an article that I really want to capture, and I wish there was a tool that could help me analyze that article. I'm not sure if you guys know of this tool, but I capture this article and I can document it in Notion with a couple clicks. So those are the times, the 1% of the times that actually were useful for me. So I do believe that the Chrome extension that we have is a very strategic initiative. It's just that we've built a solution, we're looking for a problem. So if enough people find enough problems or enough have enough struggles with, I wish I could just capture that and then analyze it, then we have a solution to problem fit.
It's an interesting problem on its in its own right, because we're looking at the generally what I'm a user of Notion and quite a devoted one, and kept several things there. And as you just said, 𝗏𝗏 was a part of my Google Chrome. It was part of my day. I would save particular links, blogs, and ideas there. But then analyzing this now, in retrospect, seeing it as, well, I would have saved it. Practically, it's there, but it only gives me the psychological awareness that I have saved an idea and it's somewhere in my trunk. But honestly, I never look back. I never have opened that clip that I made. So I'm seeing this problem as partly psychological. Like we're putting the weight into, like, we're creating. It's a psychological investment into the platform when you clip something with it. You know that you have invested into the platform. You know that you've invested into your own sort of as Notion presents it, database that expands your mind. Well, eventually it will, but it's not the case now. So with 𝗕liche AI, we see the problem is, well, let's expand it. Let's actually make something, let's make it practical to actually click and analyze these things. If we're to analyze it and enable you to not just save it, but save the extracts of what's most important out of that article and have that on your fingertips. I think that'll be the prime here.
I love that, Tim. I think you're thinking definitely like a product manager. It's an awesome trail of thought, and maybe we could look at how to integrate that thing itself onto our dashboard so that it becomes, a working system of sorts. Like it's almost like we are not only let's say a lot of companies, a lot of products or features allow people to capture that, and then they get lost. Is what you're trying to say, right? It's almost like a hoarding behavior. Psychologically, like I used to collect a lot of things, so I think that one day I will use them. Same thing as articles and videos and even different forms of media online. It's like I collect them, but I would never go back to them until one day I'm trying to dust off my collection. But how might we? Here's a design thinking question: how might we make or encourage people to not only discover insight but help them use whatever they've collected over time, right, to enhance their physical experience, or help them with something that they might need help with. So it sounds more like definitely an insight collection, or analysis and an insight generation, but also reminder system that helps them go back to it from time to time.
We had this in our minds. Tyler particularly was thinking about this tons. The problem with this interfacing, like the core issue with any interface and application that we use is that we can't talk with it or transmit information in between fast enough. We can't read fast enough. We can't type in fast enough. And this brought us to use more. This made us use more visuals, made us use the interface to the max ability of it, with 2D interfaces, 3D interfaces that we barely have. And Tyler, would you expand on that? Sort of the problem of interfacing, the problem of interfacing with information.
There was a theme that became almost, I'm trying to think of the word for it, but it was almost ridiculous how much it was used. And it was a couple of years ago, but organizations would talk about siloed information or siloed departments within their team, and how there would be, there'd be areas on their team that were not communicating with each other, and that was leading to breakdowns across the entire organization. And I look at this as what we also saw. What I saw is what Leon and Tim just discussed, which is, you can, because I did the same thing with Evernote. I have thousands of web clips. I have never accessed them. Again, maybe very specific things, but it became all this idea of like siloed information. You would save something, would be in there, but it would never be of use again. I like what you said, Tim, just this psychological safety net that you knew it was at least there and you didn't lose it. Because there's nothing worse than feeling like, oh, I was reading that and I can't find it. I can't find the link. So there's something there, but what we saw was this gap between how information was connecting with each other. And just as a simple example within our dashboard search is, you search a term and you don't just see the notes or audio or video in like a list that then you have to go into that list. You actually see visualizations of trends of how much that term was used. So if I search media analysis, instead of just all the notes that include that, it's like every one, but you can actually drill down to the specific sentence from the same interface. And you can also see patterns over time where you have looked at that more. And if you're looking through the Chrome extension, that you've pulled in clips because you've been reading about that more or more interested. So you could see a spike in January. You're reading a ton about media analysis, and then it dropped down, and then it increased again in March because you started to get really interested in it. And again, it's hard to remove sort of the abstractness and the complexity from that. But it comes down to even what we're talking about. I'm going to try to bring this back together for Leon, is like, people are dumping a lot of hours of transcriptions into our systems, audio and video files that then they're transcribing for user interviews or research. And then the question is, now what? You know, the question is, how are these, we just did 30 interviews, 30 hours of interviews. What were the common patterns between that? What were the themes? What were the things that we saw that are connected? What were the pain points? What are the things that as an organization, if we're building something, and that's what the point of these user interviews, how do we identify those things and then try to even add some quantitative analysis to that so we can prove those points better? And it comes back to what Michal put in this description, is that we want to help teams, individuals make better decisions faster by providing that additional layer on top of the audio, on top of the transcripts, through this analysis and connecting media files together. So, Tim, I hope that answered something. I don't know.
It does, and this, to continue on this, if I were to, the part of analysis and creating this a very abstract information, we're adding complexity here. There's no question about that, but what we're attempting to do with this is actually bringing this meta information to your awareness. Remembering a text, is much less effective than remembering an image. Remembering a text plus image is much more effective than either of those. And it's a very simplistic way of looking at this, but the insights and visualizations are supposed to create this wider throughput of information and enable you to recognize and harness the information that matters for you.
I think we're just trying to get to now, and like Leon, like the part where some of the focus on the human transcription part is coming in, is it actually creates an opportunity. That opportunity right now is, you know, some of the wonderful people we work with, whether it's nonfiction, whether it's MindCure, and they're producing these bulk hours of media that they're trying to derive insights from. It's like, we've now cleaned up these transcripts to 100%. This is a beautiful data set that you have. Like, what now? What are you going to do now? How long are you going to spend analyzing these files? What are you trying to derive out of this? If you're going to take these if you're going to take all this information that you're trying to synthesize and create a report that's going to drive organizational decisions, how can we help in that process? So the first step is getting more people to bring in, you know, trust us to do a great job with the transcription, whether automated or then augmenting it with the humans to clean it up to 100%. And then the next step is, how can we help improve that process even further for them? So I think we've done a good job and continue to do a good job on focusing on that. But the main goal of Speak has always been like, help you find these meaningful insights. And I look forward to continuing to do that and unlock those for people.
Yeah, and in the next couple of months, one of my main strategic initiatives is to be that bridge between where we see ourselves and what our customers actually might need solving for. So I'll be doing a lot of calls with customers. Yeah, that'll be my playground, essentially, to be engaging and interacting with as many of our customers and users who potentially be customers as well in the future, and to really extract what that might be. And the result might come back and actually help us realize that they don't need insights. They don't need to further enhance their, you know, it's solving the job to be done here might just end there, for example. And that's totally okay, but we'll need to find out.
I'll be sad, but I agree with you. And, you know, truly what we want to do is create value. So,
but I see it's like, yeah, but on the canvas, it depends on what color do you want to pick. If you pick the black color, the canvas would be with the black color. So the point here is like, what type of questions do we want to ask to the customer? That is a very important piece, because if we ask that, does it important, or instead of how you can improve with the insights, if we change our tone, that changes the canvas, that changes the picture. And I see with that angle, that if we change instead of what is like how you can improve what is missing here, and how we can help, that might change the whole conversations. Instead of highlighting about X versus Y, that's X plus Y. Is that I hope that makes sense. It is not more about X versus Y in the product. It is more about X plus Y, which is transcription plus insights, how we can improve that on top of what we are providing, and what do they see, how they use, and if we change the layer of the questions, we might have the different outputs.
I think of it as, again, loving the presence of Leon here, of like, we face the same thing in software as you develop software, which is there are bugs that are minor bugs, there are bugs that are moderate, and then there are critical bugs. That means your system can no longer function. And what we need to get more in line with, I think, is not the cherry on top of what we can offer, but what is the true, like, if you didn't get this is a critical, this is a critical outage or a failure, or you couldn't complete the task that is very important for your jobs to be done, for your organization. And that's just again a realization that we've had over time. It's much easier to show value by removing someone's pain than it is to add some sprinkles on top of something.
Yes.
And again, many of us here, I think, are driven by innovation. I know, like, we all want to develop and innovate, but true innovation is when you solve the needs of people. That's been a wonderful journey to go from imagination and wanting to bring new things into this world to trying to align it directly with problems that are existing already, or problems that continue to grow that are going to need solving.
Yeah, and hope this, I'll talk about this real quick. Hopefully this will shine a little bit of light from a different angle. And that is, like, innovation in and of itself is beautiful. It's about changing something that could be improved upon, right? It's about, like, living in the future and enabling that future through your own vision and actions. But let's say we are a experimental lab within a university, and we have relatively unlimited funding. We have $1 million a year to spend to play around with things. That makes sense. We can do whatever the heck we want to do. If we want to talk about the group and the team here as a business team and as a product team that we're offering to a market, then it has to solve a market need, which unfortunately comes back to what does our customer really need right now at the moment. And in doing so, we get funding to then play around with what we want to play with, right? It's about adding value to them enough that they will pay us, and then we'll have a business model versus totally different siloed approach, which is scientific research or Google X or 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪. I forget what they're called, moonshot projects. It's just they get unlimited funding, which is why they never have to have a business model in the first place.
And I would say, 𝗲𝗏 and I, and we'll take a couple minutes here, and know we're coming for time, but, like, 𝗲𝗏 and both of you, again, and Leon and 𝗲𝗏 have brought in a wonderful perspective. And so part of that was we scrolled and shared for a second, but changing up the homepage to align more with the value proposition of what we're doing. And since that, we've seen, from people landing on that page, people much more willing to sign up and at least test the product, which is a sign that the work that we're doing is making an impact there. So we'll continue to do that and enhance our website from a 6 mobile speed up to slightly better, and not only provide the value proposition and messaging, but also a core user experience we want from the first time they come across the website to they sign up for the application, for them to get back that media asset that they're looking for and see the value in how we've gone through that entire thing. 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪, I know you had a couple of things you want to share around just some changes on the application that connects with that a little bit. So please go ahead.
Yes, let's get back to the real work here. I would like to take a 5-minute here to talk about what are the updates on the engineering sides and why we did it. So which make some highlights about our work. And if you can give me screen sharing permission here. Beautiful. So please, anyone encouraged to jump in between. So the problem we found and still working on here is like the 3 call to action buttons. That is upload media on the recorder and the create text notes. So even if we put into the drop down, it's very difficult to decide in between the user experience and provide the easiest way without any double click or triple click. Just do the actions why you are on the platform. That is the one point which we are working on. And the second is, we used to have the sample media library had the separate section before in the sidebar to navigate, which is now under the media, because it is audio video and audio video sample media library, which you can go and check even our office hours and see what we are talking about and the full transcription. So those are the two changes we had done for the user experience. And for the user privacy and the security, I will take a moment to talk about, which we added called the data management, and providing you the full ability to manage, access your data, read about the privacy policy, and you can request to delete your data, and you also can request to delete your account, which is only a single click event, and we will process in 14 days. So those are a couple of changes in app. And the last one is basically the in-app transcript editor updates we did. That is absolutely from the user feedback. So that is the beautiful piece with the transcript editor so far, is every single change we made over the last 2 months. To be honest, it's all from the users, all from the transcriber, and to giving them an ability to auto scroll with the media clip as you can go during the maybe the transcription changes or anything. So yes, these are the few more changes. And the last one is the big one, which is now if you have the organization access, you can set a note between a team or to any individual. So let's say this is the one article which you can go under the action, and you can assign to anyone in your organization or maybe to the group. So basically the same access you can have with the audio, video, and text now. So I will take a pause here. Any thoughts for anyone? I lost my screen setting button here.
I'm not sure if this fits into this conversation necessarily, but have we considered, for instance, from a user standpoint, right? Like, and I know Vatsal, this is something that's in our backlog as well. But when it comes to generating an onboarding experience for new users, for instance, right? Because yesterday I was actually playing around with, 𝗕𝗏𝗁.
Right.
Yes. So I went through their whole, I mean, I'm like halfway through their onboarding process, and their onboarding process is basically a mini academy course, right? But I did think it was interesting how, when you hopped into the app for the first time, there was basically a step-by-step walkthrough of, if you're here for transcription, because maybe that's something we could do, right? If you're here for transcription, it takes you through the transcription onboarding. If you're here for audio analysis, which I mean still falls under transcription, takes you through the onboarding process. But then also for that to work, and I guess maybe this is another thing, but does it make sense when someone logs in to speak, right, to be hit with this wall of data as like their home screen, right? And I mean, these might be things that you guys have considered and talked about as well, right? And I'm just wondering how maybe we, like within the product itself, as far as like user experience goes, and maybe even Leon can jump in here, is like, how do we, what are the simplest things we can do to generate fast improvements for like the user flow? Like maybe just like a short discussion around what we think are like 5 easy changes we can make to improve the user flow.
Right. So I would say, like, in the last quarter, we implemented sort of the beta user flow and the onboarding process, which I would say in the 5-step, the first one was based on you select on the onboarding form what features you want to use. That goes to the second step on the dashboard. And Timothy done the great job on the dashboard it will highlight you what does that mean, what needs mean. You can choose the drop down, and it will give you the more highlight about how you can use. So once you understand that, the third piece, go to the text notes, which will give you an ability to create the text note right there on the onboarding flow. And it will follow you to, hey, save the note, which will reanalyze the insights and give you the highlight about what does that mean. And the last step was send to the upload media screen. So if you are trying to upload audio and video, which will show you the how to upload audio and video on the speak. So those were the 5 steps, but there were a couple of downside which wasn't converted to the production release. So which is on the development on the UAT servers, which is the plan to release probably the next month, the at least onboarding sort of a academic course, or you can say the onboarding flow.
Awesome.
Yes, and we'll take one more minute here to what is coming next and what might we talk about on the engineering side. Is we are focusing more about right now is on the security and the privacy about the user. So we are trying to improve more security on the platform. We also, the next thing is also coming on the engineering side is sort of a webhook integrations, which you can integrate with any CRM system or the Zapier. So what does that mean is, like, for example, if you want to receive a notification back on your platform or on the Zapier, you can subscribe for those events. So, hey, send me a notification when my text note is analyzed. Send me a notification where my media is analyzed. So those sort of notification you can integrate with the platform. Yeah, back to you, Tyler.
Back to me. Oh, wow. I mean, we're coming up for the end of time here. We won't go too much into this, just to be considerate of time. But you know, as we talked about some of this work that we're focusing on and what we're doing, you know, Timothy and I, again with the guidance of 𝗏𝗲𝗁, had a lot of fun this week. Really, for the first time, trying to build a level of analysis of audio and video without having to use the words to be the driver of that. So we've seen in the past a lot of sentiment analysis. So again, keeping with what we're trying to do, which is build high quality data sets and digital assets that you can find key moments in so that you can make better decisions. Part of that is making sure that the analysis that we're doing is accurate, and then helping aid people with that analysis. And what we've come across a couple of times has been this idea of, for example, running a sentiment analysis on a transcript. And we've gotten some great feedback that's a very helpful feature. And even some of the companies using our system are focused mainly on the sentiment analysis. But we want to enhance the level of accuracy for that. And so Tim and I spent some time doing basically a voice analysis, and that's not doing what you're saying, but how you're saying. And wonderful, interesting experiment that we did after hours. Tim and I got together, and when we ran into roadblocks, we said, hey, 𝗏𝗏𝗁, we need some help. And again, sort of shared just a small clip last night when we had our moment where we got some of that analysis working. So maybe just quickly, Tim, I guess, is there anything that you have to share about that experience, and then how it's connected to some of the stuff that we're doing?
Sure. Maybe only a couple of words from the technical side. It's quite of a, it's very interesting to see that many people have contributed to composing data sets in organizations. In our case, I wonder if we can name it, but in either case, we've built quite of a simplistic machine learning model. It's a deep learning model with convolutional neural networks inside of it, but we've gotten pretty far with, once again, it's probably, we're doing the same thing. Oh, sorry, ate my hair here. They are, it was an interesting challenge to bring together deep learning plus really high-paced prototyping. And in our case, something I guess we both learned is that we're indeed, you can build those things, and these are inventions in its raw sense. but until they're useful, it's largely a proof of concept still. And so the desire here is to expand the connections with this concept, if not with the product we don't have yet. So we're opening our eyes into auditory processing, essentially to finding to increasing the natural language understanding in the way of sentiment analysis and digging down into emotion analysis. And having said that, we're doing our best to be consistent and to deliver value to our existing clients, but we're also imagining as much as we can what could be. Even if we're building hopefully we're building painkillers, not vitamins, but sometimes those painkillers only show what we've been missing all along. Anyway, I should probably stop now.
Thank you, Tim.
Anyway, thank you for initiative, and thank you for the initiative, Tyler, because it's a thing to dedicate your time after work in something you're truly passionate about that doesn't necessarily add up any value but just have fun, I guess. We should all look into the bright side of our lives and do as much of the things we're passionate about as we can. Thank you.
Beautifully put, Tim. Okay. On that note, I have nothing else to add, but yes, wonderful experimentation. And I think there are ways to bring this into providing value. We just got to do it at the right time and look forward to that. And hopefully sharing some pretty interesting stuff out as we do experiment more with that. But anyone, we're at 1 p.m. here. Anyone have anything else before we wrap this up? Okay.
No, we are really good.
Okay, wow, right on time. All right, thank you everyone for joining here. Always wonderful, and I think some of these talks, that bring us together, I'd be really interested to be an outside party who has listened to any of these on an ongoing basis. It must be a fascinating thing, and really we have all these put into Speak, so we could even do our own case study on how this has changed week over week of what we've talked about and some of the themes through and everything there. So I'll take that upon myself to share a little bit more about that process, but look forward to continuing with the updates, continuing to improve what we're doing and what we're focused on and how we deliver value for people. And again, always grateful to work with a wonderful team and also a growing community of people who use Speak and support us. So again, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.